If I offered to personally help you get your coloring book idea out of your head and into your hands in the next 30 days, using the exact same process that helped me create and publish my first book in 5 days, then leverage my status as a newly published author to launch and leverage it to create 2 additional income streams in less than 6 months, allowing me to make more money faster than relying solely on one-off book sales on Amazon or Etsy. And I did it with no formal art training or prior design experience. Would you be interested? Hi, my name is Rodney, creator of the Coloring Book Creator podcast. My first coloring book, Never Too Late to Make It Happen, inspired me to launch my first paid membership community and online course and coaching program that has helped over a dozen first-time authors create and publish over 30 titles and counting, while opening the door for a portfolio of additional income streams like launching a subscription box, landing paid speaking opportunities and offline teaching positions, and creating online courses and paid workshops. So the only question is, are you next? If you answered yes, shoot me a text to 415-851-1222. Again, that's 415-851-1222 and says, yes, I heard you on the podcast, and I'll respond within 24 hours with details on how to take advantage of this offer. Talk soon. You're listening to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, episode 53. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about the most basic thing that every online entrepreneur should be doing that we typically don't always do, especially as creatives, and how it is actually preventing us from achieving the sales and the success that we want. So stay tuned. Now, the title of this episode, People Can't Buy What They Don't Know Exist. What I mean by that, we have to be top of mind. In order for us to capture the attention of the people that we want to serve, we have to be top of mind, meaning they have to even know about us, know about our work, know about our books, know about the things that we've created in order for them to be able to purchase it, because people can't buy what they don't know exist. And oftentimes as creatives, especially as creatives, we tend to feel that we can't keep talking about our products or our books or mentioning them or writing content about them, creating posts about them, because it will feel like overkill, that we are fishing all the time, or the only time we're posting is when we're trying to get someone to buy something from us. And even asking someone to pay us for what we have created can seem daunting, overwhelming, and spammy. Of course, if you're constantly just posting things on social media, links to the shopping cart to go buy your book or whatever you have on Etsy or Amazon or what have you, if that's all that you're doing, then yes, that can come across as spammy, and people will eventually just tune you out because that's all they ever see of you is links to go, quote unquote, buy your stuff. You probably have heard a lot about content creation, and you may not even know exactly what content creation means, or you think that it's some long, overly involving, multi-tiered process that will take you hours and days to put together. First of all, content creation doesn't have to be always about directly buying my stuff. It has to be about inspiring the people that are consuming your content, whether it's video, audio, a combination of the two, images, or written text. It has to be inviting and engaging in a way that the person doesn't actually even feel like they're being sold to. I say this to my coloring book creator mentor students all the time, that we are not pushing something that is what I construe as a hard sell. It's not that we're asking for thousands of dollars from someone to purchase our books from us or what have you. All we're doing is demonstrating what we have and leaving the door open for the invitation for the potential customer to say, I want that. And then, of course, providing them with the resources, links, and what have you for them to be able to go over and actually do that. And again, they can't do that if they don't know that the product exists. The other issue that I see coming up a lot with creatives is that we'll post maybe once or twice, at the most maybe 3 times, maybe when the book first comes out, and then we don't ever talk about it again. And that is another way that essentially you're hiding, and people, again, don't know that the product exists. The other thing that, and I'm saying this in the most, I guess, respectful way I possibly can, is that we can tend to be very self-focused or very self-centered, meaning we assume that because we posted something that everyone that's following us, let's say you have 1,000 followers on pick your platform, you have 1,000 followers and you posted once, twice, maybe 3 times. And we assume that everyone has seen, all 1,000 people have seen it. And therefore they're going to either respond or they aren't. And if you posted once, twice, 3 times, let's say you have 1,000 followers, and let's say you posted 3 different times about your book and no one bought it. No one went to the shopping cart or what have you. Then we can assume, or we may assume, or we mistakenly assume, that'd be the better way to put it, that 3,000 touch points happened with that post. That is, my friend, as far from the truth as remotely possible. In essence, typically, unless you are buying ads on pick your platform, I would say only 1/10 of the people who are actually following you on any social platform even saw your post. So to assume that because we have 1,000 followers that 1,000 people saw the post is firstly a gross mistake, because I can promise you only 1/10 probably actually saw the post to begin with. The other thing we have to be reminded of is that some people will have seen our post, and depending upon what was happening when they saw it, they may have found interest in it, but they were doing something else. They were maybe in a car driving and they were sitting at a stoplight and they looked at it on their phone and then they said, oh, this looks kind of cool, but I'll check it out later. And then, of course, later never comes. Or they are rushing to do something else. In other words, they're multitasking. And they come across the post, and at that particular moment when they saw it, it just wasn't a priority enough for them to take action. Again, it might have felt like something that they'd want to come back and take a look at, but it's not a priority in that moment because life is happening. Things are going on. They're making dinner. They're picking up kids from school. They're going to work. They're taking a lunch break, a coffee break, or whatever. And they just don't have time in that moment. It's not a priority enough for them in that moment to take further action, assuming that you even gave them a call to action. And I'll talk about that more in a moment. So this circles back to why we must consistently post content daily, because we don't know. And first of all, we don't know. Well, let's back it up. First, we know that everyone that's following us isn't seeing the content anyway. That's the first thing. The second thing is we don't know at what touch point that person or persons is going to be the thing that's going to, quote unquote, move the needle, push them closer towards clicking on the link to go purchase the book. Something that I say to my mentoring students all the time is we have to tell people what we're going to tell them, and then tell them what we told them. And we do that over and over and over and over and over again. Because the reality of it is that we don't know when people are going to see our content. We don't know what space they're going to be in when they do see it. They may not be in a buying mood at the moment when they saw it. And therefore, we assume because we posted 1 or 2 or 3 times, well, I did that and no one bought anything, so social media doesn't work, or the algorithm is against me, and all the other assumptions that we make, innocently so. And so, therefore, we will assume that content creation doesn't work, or content publishing doesn't work. I'm here to help challenge you and to inspire you into action to actually, first of all, test that theory out. If you believe that content creation doesn't work, or you don't feel like you are creative enough or have the time enough, or whatever the reasons are you're giving yourself, I want to encourage you to challenge that assumption. The way you do that is to, first of all, start looking for a variety of different ways that you can share about your project that isn't always just a link to go purchase something. You can do this through audio, video, or a combination of the above. You can use images in a variety of different styles. You can use animation. You can use just a variety of different media methods. But besides media methods, you also want to come at your discussion of your project from different angles. One of the things that I always recommend to my mentoring students is that we want to actually literally take a page from our book, whether it's a coloring page, if it's a coloring book or a journal, planner, or what have you. Literally take a page from your book and talk about that page, not the book as a standalone overall product, but take a page from the book. My book, called Never Too Late to Make It Happen, I have about 50 inspirational quotes that was inspiring to me when I created that book, now coming up on its 3rd-year anniversary. And so I have basically 50 opportunities to talk about different parts of that book based on the inspirational quote. Because again, my book features 50 inspirational quotes. So I could take that inspirational quote and make a piece of content about it, just talking about the quote, just talking about why I came up with it, where it inspired me, or how it can be used to employ and institute in your life or the viewer's life or what have you. And that's all I have to talk about. Now, I can share that through a reel. I can share that through a written piece of content with an image. I can do that with an audio like I'm doing now with a podcast, however I want to do that. And all I have to do is basically just say, again, the call to action is from my book. The title of my book, Never Too Late to Make It Happen, whatever the title of your book is. This is a quote from my book, or this is a page from my book. Fill in the title. And I basically make the content, what I'm talking about, demonstrating, is from the book itself. At that point, all I have to do is put a call to action. Let's say I'm using Instagram for an example. I can just put a simple call to action is, if you would like a sample, or you'd like to get this page to download, to color, journal, whatever the case may be, use a single focused word. Let's say if I had a quote in my book on mindset, and I talked about mindset for like 3 minutes or what have you, then I could say for my call to action, it says, if you would like to get a copy of this page to color or journal about or whatever, just type the word, a comment with the word mindset in the comments, and I'll DM you this page. There you go. Now, when people comment with the word mindset, I'm going to DM them manually, and I'm going to basically ask them or invite them to go to perhaps a page on my website, or it can be a Google form or what have you, where I ask for their contact information, name and email address in exchange for the page. That way you're building your email list. And then once they give me their contact information, then I'll give them the page. What I love about this particular strategy is people are self-identifying that they are interested in what I've just shared with them. I'm not having to, quote unquote, fish in a wide ocean, not knowing what I'm going to catch. I've put something out there that could be of interest to the right person. They raised their hand and said, yes, I'd like to know more. And you give them a taste of what you have to offer. Now, there's a whole strategy that I have around how to deliver that single page. But what you can do essentially is deliver that single page that they said they wanted, setting it up in a way that it has an invitation inside of that document, inside of that PDF, with a link to what they can go do, buy your book, buy your project. That way, you're never having to directly say, go buy my book. You're essentially giving them a taste, like a sample. And they get a sample of it if they like what they got. At the very least, they are aware that you have a book that they can buy. At best, they'll go buy it. What's happening here is that we're not focusing on just posting 1 or 2 times, hoping that everyone's going to just jump over and go over to Amazon or go over to Etsy and go buy our book, or go to our website and buy our book. We are not making those assumptions at all. What we are doing is we are finding different ways to engage people. That's the thing I want to encourage you to do, is find different ways to engage your audience, not just buy my stuff post. Okay. And if you created a book, I don't care if it's 25 pages, if it's 50 pages, if it's 100 pages, pretty much every page in that book can serve as an inspiration point for a piece of content. And again, you talk about what's on that page, what that page was about. You can do it through showing the page and you coloring it. If it's a coloring page, you can talk about the different types of pencils that you used or the tools that you used to do it. The sky is the absolute limit here. We've got to start thinking less about I'm trying to get the sale to how can I use what I've created to inspire creativity in the person who is listening to what I'm saying, watching what I'm doing. When you make that the focus, you don't have to hard sell anything. You don't have to push anything. If people are inspired by what they saw, how you said it, and all you have to do is provide a simple invitation to get more information on how to do that, the sale would take care of itself. But the only way this happens, if you're trying to use social media marketing to get sales, is you have got to be consistent. It is imperative. And I also want to say, if you are a person who focuses on perfection, for an example, if you're worrying about how you're showing up, how you look, you want to lose weight or you want to get your hair done, you didn't have makeup on, whatever you're telling yourself as to why you can't make a piece of content, I'm saying to you is dispel that. Because as content creators, we can be self-centered. Because when we're talking about that, we're focusing on us. We're not focusing on the person that we are trying to attract. If you really just don't want to be on camera, there's all kinds of faceless opportunities that you can do nowadays. Whether or not it's on camera, off camera, whether it's audio, images, whatever it is that you ultimately decide to do is not the point here. The point is that you do something and you do something consistently. Consistency is the name of the game. I'm more concerned about consistency than perfection. Perfection will keep you broke. I'm just going to be blunt. Perfection will keep you broke. No one is perfect. No one's expecting you to be perfect. What they do care about is that they want to know that you care about them. That will get you far further faster than worrying about being perfect. The second thing about being consistent is this. You will have data. If you post every day for 30 days, and I'm going to encourage you to do something here in a moment, so keep listening. If you post a piece of content in a variety of different formats every day for 30 days, at the end of 30 days, you will have data. Data meaning you will know what post you did that got more engagement, which ones people responded to more than others. You'll know which ones really didn't land all that well. You'll have data. Data is then what you will then use to know, okay, whether I need to make more like this and maybe less like this. You'll know which content strategy or which content construction type really resonates with you and which one, not so much. But you know how you'll know this, and the only way you'll know this is you got to create something to begin with. Because you can't sit there and think about it or guess about it or analyze about it. You've got to roll up your sleeves and do it. So when you get into the content creation habit, and that's where your focus should be at this point, not on sales per se, but on the content creation habit. If you do that for 30 days, then you've got data that you can go back and analyze what you did, what actions you took, what types of content you use, what topics got the most interest, which ones didn't, which ones work better for you, which ones don't. Then guess what? You get another 30 days to go back and do more of what worked, less of what didn't work. The next thing is you are hitting people multiple touch points. So maybe they don't see what you did on days 1 and 2, but they see days 3, 4, 5, and 8. They don't see what you did on days 9 and 10, but they see what you did on 20, 21, and 25. You see where I'm going with this is that we have to expect that people aren't going to see our content every single time we post. So we can't sit there and go, oh, I'm being spammy by posting every day, because we aren't, because everyone isn't seeing it. And even if they are seeing it, they may not be ready or in a mood to buy anything. They could be going through any kind of, life is happening for all of us. They just not might be in the headspace to do anything right now. Quote that I love and I share with my mentoring students all the time is, we show up until they catch up. I hope you're finding value in this episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about a special workshop I'm hosting called How to Set Up a Simple One-Page Website designed to help you pre-launch your book as you're creating it. And here's why I'm doing it. So many creative entrepreneurs, unfortunately, make list building a low priority, when actually it should be, next to creating your work, one of your highest. Why? Because platforms are changing every second. What's hot right now may be out the window, possibly by the time you finish listening to this episode. But do you know what will never go out of style? Your email list. This is something no one can take away from you. A social media platform or seller can close your account. But with proper preparation and positioning, you can be ready to keep your business going with a simple email. No algorithm worries, no platform freezes. And that's why I created this special workshop. This is not a watch me type training. We are going to be rolling up our sleeves and setting up your first contact list, your one-page website, and a welcome email sequence that will automate. So when a new subscriber gives you their contact info, they'll receive your instant response from you. The bootcamp will conclude with a special bonus workshop where we'll craft your first welcome email sequence with the power of ChatGPT. And the best part, you get to keep lifetime access to the recordings at the end of each session, plus all of my scripts, templates, and checklists, and it's all yours for just a one-time payment of only $97. So affordable for everything you get. Click the link in the show notes for a complete outline and registration link. And even if you can't make it live, if this training speaks to you, register, and I'll personally make sure that you have everything you need to create your first one-page website, launch, and grow your email list. Now back to the episode. We show up until they catch up. We can't assume anything. Assuming will keep us broke as well. We've got to be able to get out of our own head, get out of our own way, and start doing the things that we need to do consistently, because aside from creating our books, this is our jobs. These are our jobs. This is what will actually make it where we can generate income from what we're doing, if that's what your goal is. I don't care if the book is on Amazon. I don't care if it's on Etsy. I don't care if it's on your own website. We still must be the driver of interest to our product, i.e. traffic, in order for people to know about it, in order for people to buy it. What I want to do here is encourage you. Now, this is something that I'm doing exclusively for my Coloring Book Creator Mentor Society members. And then I was sitting here today thinking, you know what, I want to actually open this up to more of my podcast listeners, i.e. you. And so I want to open up and invite you to do a 30-day, what I'm calling a 30-day society challenge or a 30-day content challenge. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to one of my Facebook groups that I have that's more open, not just for my paid members in my program. But I'll post a link to my other Facebook group called the Coloring Book Creator Club. And I'll put a link in there. If you're interested, go over there and click on it and join that group. And I'll be doing a post in that group, just giving you some different ideas, some tips, some strategies in order to encourage you to get in, helping you develop your content creation habit, to get your mindset right. I don't care if your book is not published yet. Actually, if your book is not published and you're still working on your book, this is one of the best times to start developing content, because you want to start building up an interest audience even as you're creating the book. So when the book is ready to sell, there's an audience of people that already have raised their hands that potentially may want to buy it. So do not do this because you're saying, oh, my book's not done yet. Actually, if you're working on the book, even if you only got a handful of pages available, you can start creating content over a 30-day period to start creating that interest audience as you're building out your project. As a matter of fact, I'll even go so far as to say this. If you're in the process of developing a book, you do want to do this 30-day challenge because it will, first of all, get you in gear to get the book done. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you are building the book with a tribe of people that have raised their hands. They are getting to see your process behind the scenes. Behind the scenes content is some of the best content that you can put out there. I say this again all the time to my mentoring students. Our artistic process is fascinating to people. People who don't consider themselves artists or creative are fascinated by us and our process. So giving them a sneak peek behind the curtain of what we do and how we do it also works to your advantage as well. So again, if you're saying to yourself, well, my book's not ready, please dismiss that. If you've got something that you started, go for it. You can even start out your content strategy saying something like, hey, I've been thinking about putting together a coloring book or a planner for a while. It's been on my mind. It's something I really want to do. And I've been sort of hesitant about whether not to go for it. But you know what? I've decided I'm going to put myself on the spot and I'm actually going to get this done. And I want to do it in front of an audience of people. So I'm going to share with you my journey. I'm going to share with you my process from idea to finished book in my hand in 30 days. Now that's an interesting challenge. And every day you can just share a little piece of content about, these are the ideas I'm thinking about for the book. What do you think? And then you share the ideas that you have for the book. These are the cover designs that I've sort of come up with. Put it up there and let people vote on it. These are some of the pages that I've come up with. What do you think about that? Let them vote on it. You see what I'm saying? And then you just keep doing that process over 30 days. Again, it doesn't have to always be, it can be just you talking straight to camera while you're on a walk. It could be you actually sharing your screen. It could be a variety of different media methods. But the point I want to make is do not sleep on this. If you are creating anything, whether it's coloring books, planners, journals, courses, artwork, whatever you're doing, this applies to everyone. We've got to develop a content creation habit because it's the only way that people are going to, well, it's not the only way. It's one of the most efficient ways to get the word out about what you've created. It can open up doors for collaboration opportunities. It could open up doors in ways that you don't even realize at this point that are available to you. I also say this too, again, to my mentoring students all the time. When we are trying to get the word out about what we have created, we're going to pay for it in one or two ways. With our labor, sometimes I'm more blunt and say our sweat, and or our cash. So either you're going to put money into ads to get people to see what you are proposing, or you're going to use organic strategies, i.e. content, in order to get people to know about what we have. But you're going to pay either way, either with labor, i.e. sweat, and or cash. I would say to you and encourage you, because I personally have invested thousands of dollars in ads, and I will say to you that a content creation strategy could be the best precursor to running ads, because if you can get people to engage with what you post for free, and they are actually commenting, engaging, they're being, inspiring based on what you wrote, what you showed, what you shared, whatever you did, you could turn those posts into ads, especially on platforms like Facebook and Instagram. That's very easy to turn those into ads. What I heard one internet marketer say that I thought was really very prolific, and she said, essentially, it's pouring gasoline on something that's already got a really strong ember already going. It's really smoking and heating up. So if you've got a piece of content that's really doing very well, you can put dollars behind that piece of content to amplify it so that more and more people see it. So using a content strategy like this is the best sort of beta or field tests that you can do to see what's landing for people and what's not. And then from there, then if you find that this is something that's really getting a lot of attraction on its own, then you could consider amplifying it by adding some dollars behind it to get more eyeballs on it. And this is something that I also teach inside my mentoring program. So I've mentioned the mentoring program several times throughout this episode. And what I'm going to encourage you to do, if this is something that interests you, if you would like support with developing your content creation strategy, your book idea, your planner idea, your journal idea, whichever of any of those three that you're thinking about doing, you want some support around your potentially ads. If you're thinking about running ads, for an example, we can talk about that. Anyway, if you're interested in any of those, I offer a 30-minute strategy call where I can look at what you are thinking about or what you've created and help develop a plan for you in order to help you move forward. I'm going to put the link in the show notes to where you can book that session. Now, I'm going to add a caveat to that. I do charge a nominal $20 fee for booking that session with me. I started doing that because I found that there were several instances where people didn't show up for the call. I want to respect my time and respect yours. So again, if you're interested in doing that, I really only want to speak with serious and committed people. So I do require, if you want to book that call with me, it's a $20 fee to do that call. If we just find that we're just not a fit at all to work together, I'll happily refund that. But if you decide that you want to move forward with me in any capacity, whether it's in my mentor program or what have you, I can apply that $20 towards that whatever upgrade in the program if you decide to work with me further. And we can talk about that on the call. So again, I'll put the link inside the show notes here to arrange that. In the meantime, I encourage you to start thinking about your project, start thinking about the different ways that you can get it out there. Again, join my Coloring Book Creator Club free Facebook group. Join that. I'll be doing some posts in that group. And I encourage you to take advantage of this next 30 days. Do the challenge. Start developing your content creation habit and see what is working for you and possibly what's not working for you so that we can course correct, or you can course correct, or with my support, we can course correct and get you started on the right path. Because again, you're pouring your energy, your time, your money, your resources into creating this project. But if you aren't getting the word out, again, I'll wrap this episode with how I started it. People cannot buy what they do not know exists. Alrighty. This is Rodney Washington, your host, signing off.